Oil painting is supposed to be freeing. It's supposed to get us into flow. It's supposed to help us express our authentic selves. So why can it feel like absolute torture? If your art practice has felt this way in the past, or if you're afraid that it'll get here if you aren't careful, know that this is totally normal and not a reflection of how much you actually can enjoy your art practice, because this is totally avoidable. I have had my own experiences with teachers who sucked the joy out of painting, ateliers that led me straight to burnout, and I've had experience overworking myself so hard in the name of improving that I was too exhausted to actually paint. So let's talk today about how you can avoid all of these things so that you can have an art practice that not only doesn't hurt your soul, it helps you to relax, be present, love the process, and make professional level work that you are proud to display or proud to sell. If you're new here, my name is Chelsea, and I help oil painters go from stuck to creating their dream body of work so that they can fall in love with their oil painting career. And making sure that you enjoy the process is a fundamental part of all of this. The first thing that can make your oil painting practice torture and stop you from actually reaching your goals is burnout. It doesn't matter how good your plan is if you aren't actually putting in the repetitions at the easel that you need to master your craft. Mastery, after all, is about repetition first and foremost. So the process truly needs to be sustainable and enjoyable for years worth of practice, or you simply aren't going to get there. The number 2 thing that's going to stop you from reaching your oil painting goal is putting in work that doesn't build you toward that goal. Things like practicing techniques that your desired paintings just don't require, or painting subjects that really don't bring you any of the skills that you need to paint the way you want to paint, or painting subjects that you just aren't interested in. So the very first thing that we need to do in order for you to reach your goal successfully and enjoyably is to know what that particular goal is. If you aren't sure how to figure this out, I have made an entire video walking you step by step through the exact exercise that my students and I use to get clear on our goals. I'll link that up in the upper right-hand corner. So if you haven't done this yet, or you aren't really clear on what kind of work you want to be making, make sure to watch that video right after this one. But to sum up, knowing what your goal with your painting practice is should tell you what subjects you want to paint, how to compose those subjects, what techniques to use to put paint down on canvas, what colors should be on your palette, what kinds of brushes and tools you'll use. And knowing your goal should help you to identify the exact skill gaps that exist between your current paintings and your goal paintings, so that you know exactly what to work on. Once you know what this goal is, the best next step is to figure out the key skills that you're lacking to paint the way that you want to paint, and start working on these skills one at a time. In my case, this past year, I realized that I was not actually painting what I was excited to paint, at least not entirely. So this month, I finally bit the bullet, and I took an entire day to gather the exact kinds of references that I wanted to paint from. I got to go backstage of the Carolina Ballet during rehearsals. I took thousands of photographs, and I picked out the absolute strongest ones to begin painting from. And that's what you're actually seeing me do right here in this video. And this is important because I see so many painters respond most strongly to one very specific kind of painting, or one pretty narrow range of subjects, but they don't actually paint those subjects. And this is such a huge contributor to burnout or frustration, and it's one of the very easiest things for us to actually fix. So if you know your goal is to paint horses or dancers or portraits, we need to actually get you some reference that aligns with those things. That being said, getting reference and painting the right subjects isn't the only thing that could be holding you back. You probably need to hone specific skills based on the difference between your current paintings and what you actually want to create. And this means following a one-size-fits-all curriculum probably isn't going to cut it for creating a painting practice that you're truly passionate about. Having a mentor's eye is super helpful in this case in terms of identifying areas in your paintings that could use some work, or that could be better aligned with your goal. But in case you want an overview of what these areas are and what kind of exercises you can try out, check out my video on how to use an art vision board. I'll link that in the upper right-hand corner of this video as well, and I'll also put it in the description. And if you would like my mentorship to help you to identify these gaps and ultimately reach your painting goals, check out the link in the description to find out more and apply to see if we are a fit to work together. So once you know what your goal is, and you have an idea of what you need to focus on to not waste your time in the studio and actually build up the necessary skills to paint the way you want to paint, the final piece of this puzzle is monitoring for burnout. Painting is often meditative. It can help you to enter into a flow state. It can be something you absolutely lose yourself in completely, and yet at the same time, it can make you feel completely one with the universe. It can be the thing that helps you to unwind after a long workday or recenter yourself after you've gone through something stressful. But grinding away at improving your skills can start to wear at you over time. It can become tedious, or it can feel like you aren't progressing fast enough and become frustrating. So to combat this, I recommend having a short list of painting exercises that you love. Exercises that feel low stakes, that aren't necessarily about improving. Things like creating fan art from your favorite show or game, doodling in a sketchbook, doing studies or simple exercises that you just find meditative. If you actually study this in yourself, what kinds of painting exercises do you just enjoy the most, and you create a short list of these options, the key then is to refer to them the second that you find yourself wanting to pull away from your practice. Other activities like Julia Cameron's artist dates that she talks about in her book, The Artist's Way, can be great too. These are outings that you take as a painter that are all about refueling and recharging creatively. So they could be going to a museum or seeing a movie that gets your creative juices flowing, or going out and listening to some live music, or just talking with other painter friends and really connecting with their creative spirits. The artist date can be a really useful tool, and it's important to couple this with action at the easel. That way, it doesn't just become a stalling tactic or a way to procrastinate. So to sum everything up, the first thing that you actually need to get better at painting without hating art in the process is to know what your goal for your work actually looks like. Then you've got to figure out what to practice in order to make that possible. Maybe it means getting the right reference or practicing your drawing skills, but whatever you do, it should be tailored to you versus a one-size-fits-all solution. And finally, to avoid burnout, make sure you have a short list of fun, reset painting exercises at your disposal that you can turn to when things start to feel frustrating, boring, or just plain tedious. And you have some options here. This could be artist dates or things that just get you inspired, or it could be actual painting exercises, but it is important to not let these artist dates or exercises that are designed to give you inspiration become a method of procrastination. If you have any questions about how to reach your painting goals in a way that's enjoyable as well as successful, let me know in the comments. Or to talk with me one-on-one about whether I can help you to reach your goals, make sure to check out the link in the description to find out more and to chat with me one-on-one to see if it is a fit. All right, until next time, happy painting.